And we back.
What it do? What it do?
What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron. Just kidding. We did a body swap.
Fucking idiot, bro.
Tricked you.
Hey, by the way, Jesse says this nigga's trolling with the mustache. He said, this motherfucker. He said, I hate the mustache. I was like, yeah, bro, he's trolling. His confidence is on a 10 with the shit.
I don't know many people. The only compliments I've gotten have been from old dudes. Liking the mustache.
For a fucking reason, bro.
Liking the stash, man. I didn't even notice you had one. I'm like, yeah.
For obvious fucking reasons. But off topic, though. Welcome to Humanity's Last Hope, folks. I'm actually Erron.
And I'm Dorian. And we are the dynamic duo.
What's good?
Yes, indeed. But before we get started, you know we got to do a little bit of house cleaning. And I got to talk about Brown Shoe Fit.
Hit him up.
Brown Shoe Fit is a professional shoe fitting operation that started over 100 years ago. I don't know many companies that have been around for 100 years.
Not a lot.
But this place is dope. So you enter in, you go, get your feet measured, get the shoes put on, and you get fitted for the best pair of shoes that you've ever put on in your life, guaranteed, hands down. All right? We're all over the Midwest, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa. We even got one in Wyoming, all right? So you guys Google Brown Shoe Fit Company and put in your city name. Who knows? There may be one near you. And if you go to my location,
yes,
okay, because I own one, it's a franchise, by the way. So if you go to my location, which is in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and you mention this podcast, we're going to give you $25 off your next purchase.
Real deal. Okay. Hey, y'all see he let the clip off on y'all asses real quick. but it's good to be back, man. So I just came back from a little hair modeling situation. My homeboy, I needed me to be like a hair model for this clinic he put on. So my head is fried right now. No cap. This shit's spicy as a motherfucker right now. But
you guys can't see it up close, but you might be able to once you zoom. But
my
his whole front
is panthered out. So essentially, he lifted my shit. So I'm a little bit, I would say, crusty on the edges right now because my shit is. If anybody had their hair bleached before, it's a little bit abrasive. But anyways, had to get that handle. So we kind of have a late. You know what I'm saying? Start for the day for me and my boy getting connected.
Yep.
But we low-key almost got into this conversation over the phone this morning when we were talking about it. But we really kind of, well, actually, I'll say this. Like, he found this podcast. Go ahead and tell him about the podcast real quick. Little episode.
Yeah, so I was just, like, trying to be more productive. And just a little bit of context. So I'm reducing a lot of the distractions in my life. So I got rid of Netflix. I got rid of all my streaming services other than Amazon Prime because you get Amazon Prime for free. Right. So I got rid of it. And then I'm flirting with the idea of just kind of like getting rid of music just because I'll get lyrics stuck in my head and I don't want anything stuck in my head.
Space.
Right. So, space to clear. And so I was like, all right, let me pop in a podcast real quick. And I came across the Modern Wisdom one with Alex Hermozi and the guy that has the Modern Wisdom podcast. His name escapes me at the moment, but and it was just epic from start to finish. It was very weighty, a ton of nuggets in there, ton of insight, really consciousness expanding stuff. So we're going to kind of talk about some of the things that they talked about in there and then provide our own insight.
Yeah, and when you sent it to me, like I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, as far as like what I was going to get from it because I seen the shit was like 3 hours, but like the shit just off the rip was kind of like if you get past the first 5 minutes, it should get like really. I would say
you're gonna finish it.
Yeah, you're gonna get stuck and you're gonna keep watching or keep listening to it. But there was a lot of shit that they was talking about that resonated like wholehearted with me, and I see why you sent the shit. Mm-hmm. And essentially, we're not gonna necessarily repeat it, but we're gonna touch on a few things that they touched on because we have a lot of similar opinions about shit. And a lot of that shit has to do with our vibe. You know what I'm saying? Progressing. Ourselves, self-improvement, growth, and you know what I'm saying, turning yourself into like a weapon of mass destruction. You dig? You feel me?
WMD.
Yeah. So we're very excited about this. Like, to be honest, like we low-key almost got into the conversation over the phone, and then it hit us both.
We had to stop.
We gotta bring this up and have this conversation again. This is a podcast, so me and him have conversations. It's for us first and foremost. And so that's kind of where we're at with this, and we just hope you guys enjoy it. And I'm going to let you kick it off and I'm gonna and I wrote down a few of the things, a few of the highlights, I would say, you know, a couple of the highlights, and we'll just start where one of these random ones, and then you know what I'm saying, where it goes is where it goes, how it usually works, right? You feel me? So,
Bingo.
There was some, and this is a long podcast, y'all. There was some fire, some heatness, and so one of the things that they touched on was what the person who will beat you is willing to give up. And I thought, like, the way it was phrased was just fire, right? Not most people think you have to give something up or you have to sacrifice to get to the place you want to be. But if you really put this in context, like, if you think of everything that you don't want to give up, the person that is beating you is giving that shit up. You know what I'm saying? The person that's at the place that you want to be is giving that shit up, likely. You know what I mean? And so I kind of wanted to start there, and there's plenty of topics. We're going to get into all these, hopefully. We won't keep y'all here for too long, but with these conversations.
But, you know, if you enjoy it, you know, maybe sometime later on down the date, you guys want a part 2, maybe we can tap in.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, this could use a part 2 or 3, just because of how long it was and how much stuff they talked about that was relative and like resonate with myself, and on a vulnerable level. Because when I heard that, it's like, damn, bro, there's shit in my life that it's like I'm not giving up, right? Or I haven't been giving up.
Like what?
And like, for example, drinking. You know what I'm saying? Or not anime, but binging Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Or spending my time. Or excuse, like sleep in some cases, right? Wanting to sleep in more often than I used to, type of thing. Like rest, comfort. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I haven't been willing to give up in certain areas because I've lulled myself into a place. And the reason I got vulnerable with this one is because of those particular things, right? Like, I'm at a place now where it's like, damn, I do want to, and I see myself and I envision myself getting to like a pinnacle of myself, right? And if somebody that is at that pinnacle, if somebody that has gone through the trenches, has gone through certain experiences in life, is telling me that, you know what I'm saying, these are things that you'll have to give up. And then you're hearing it from almost every one of these people. You know what I'm saying? Warren Buffett was talking about, the reason I beat everybody is because I read. Like, most people don't want to read. And he's right. I don't fucking like reading. You know what I mean? So it's like figuring out how to get past that, like, that immature understanding of giving something up as opposed to gaining something from it is where, like, that shit hit me. So when he brought that up, I was just like, damn, bro. It's like, I felt it because I was one of those people, like, motherfuckers out here beating me because I'm not giving up certain things or I haven't given up certain things. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I felt like when he made the statement and how he phrased the shit, it was like, damn, fuck, I'm that person.
Yeah, you could tell that he spent a lot of time thinking about that and sat with it through experiences, you know, because I feel like, you know, when you have thoughts, they're just kind of, they're shapeless in a way until they're filled with, you know, either past experiences where you make a connection, kind of like a deja vu sort of situation, or you experience something physically that colors the rest of the thought. And so, you know, kind of, and really in the moment, this thought just came to me. So forgive me while I try to form it and get it out and articulate it. But I feel like perhaps, and, you know, realizations are a crazy thing. Let me just preface everything with that, because, you know, when you have a realization, it's not necessarily like a ton of bricks hitting you in the head. It's more of like a, you know, exactly.
Like a really refreshing, in some cases.
It's like you know, it's like you walk to school every day, the same path, right? And it takes you 15 minutes to get there but you notice that there's maybe a path to the left that you want to take. And then you finally take it, and then it's a shortcut to school, where your original path took you 15 minutes. Now this one takes you 5. So to me, that's what a realization is. And so I just had this realization that perhaps, you know, maybe the reason why people are beating you, and perhaps maybe the reason why people are beating me too, is because, take Alex Hermozi, for example, or anybody, right, that's doing anything significant. The reason why they haven't been beaten is because they're doing things original to them.
That's like a perfect segue into the next, bro. It lays.
They're bringing into life ideas that they had that are original, that are esoteric to the individual. And so how can you be beat when what you're bringing to life is so original that no one else has done it before? And then, which they talk about in the podcast, is you being so convinced of that your opinion of yourself is so high that not a word anybody can tell you will ever get you to think differently of yourself.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one I actually missed on here. But that's one that actually hit me too, because we have had multiple conversations. You know what I'm saying? There's people that are going to, and this is a part of what they talk about too, that aren't going to vibrate to the same frequency as you. They're not going to see things the way you see things. They're not you, right? But ultimately, they're in a position where they can't alter your vision or your goal, your perception, your reality without your consent. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to what he was talking about, like that was my personality. That's my personality now. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody can say this, that, and the third, and it's been happening on social media, bro. Like still getting dragged from that post. I don't tune too much into
really?
it.
That old one?
But it's like it's almost at 1 million views now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like 60 or 50-some thousand likes, whatever. It's 1 million views. Comments is still coming through it. And
how many followers have you gotten off of that?
Like a couple grand.
Nice.
A couple thousand or so.
Hey, that's what you needed.
But that's what I'm gonna get to, bro.
Yeah.
Because the funny shit is, and I'll tie this in a second. You guys will see why. Is they try to bring you so down. It's like when they can't, it aggravates them. Oh yeah. Cause like I've seen people they tag me, like a person just the other day tagged me in a repost, right, and said I've never seen somebody. Just never put it on. And he's just pretty much saying like, just never get his outfit right? And it's just like funny to me is because I looked at him, I'm like, dude, you just like reposted my shit. That's why this shit is going crazy. You just literally, you boosting
you're helping me.
So it's
your
like
hate is helping me.
The haters are boosting the algorithm. Yeah. And what is my goal? My goal is to get more people to see my shit, right? Mm-hmm. And this is what clicked in me. Like they didn't mention this in the podcast, but this clicked to me. This is the correlation. Is even in those situations where like you're being like just like ganged on, they like just a unsurmounting amount of hate, right? Mm-hmm. They're still boosting your shit to now the people that don't hate it are seeing it. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me I gotta post some controversial shit to where this certain sector of people don't like it so much, they're willing to comment, repost it. And these are grown men, by the way. Like repost another grown man saying about him not putting. I'm like, why do you care if I'm putting shit on? Like you know what I'm saying? I'm sure your 300 followers, but appreciate you. Now, one of two of those motherfuckers might like the shit and then repost it.
Probably more than that.
Peep this, 3 or 4 of them motherfuckers might not like it reposted. You just literally tripled my production. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't realize like that shit is adding value indirectly. Mm-hmm. It's not getting what I don't know if they expect me to like fall apart, my life to end, and they talk about that shit too. Like I'm still alive, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this is another thing that I was gonna talk to on here was like, you have to agree to be canceled. You have to agree to, and this is in some cases like it might be true, it might not be true, right? If you feel it's like what they're saying is legitimate, I mean, you just have to be a little bit louder than them to agree with it, right? But if you feel like they're saying legitimate and it's legitimately hurt, you're not like really comfortable in what's going on, you're not authentic in it, then that was your fault for putting yourself out there in an authentic manner. Me, I'm authentic, I'm comfortable. You dig? So for me, it's just like, oh, that's great, that's your opinion. Okay, cool, bet. Like, what you think that's gonna hurt my feelings or something? Like you think like that's gonna lower the quality of life I have? Niggas is mistaken. Sadly. Unsadly. Unsadly, but I'm cool with them niggas mistaking this shit for what it is. Cause like, yes, there's some weak spirits out here, weak souls that like, they'll fold, they'll give up, they'll stop doing that and third. But they talked about this, there was this one dude that got quote unquote canceled. His dick pic got shared at a networking event while he was at the network. Remember that story? Mm-hmm. And the dude was literally at like this networking event, and his ex-girl hacked his Twitter or some shit, and reshared like so while he's at the event, this is going on. And so they associated to the Nemo, like the dude said, just keep swimming. He said, just keep streaming. So the nigga kept streaming it. Guess what's happening? People are jumping on just to talk shit. But guess what that does? That boosts his shit.
Oh yeah, he's getting boosted.
Boosted, right?
Yeah.
And so it gets to the point where it's like, he just keeps doing it. More people are saying shit in the comments. He just keeps doing it until like less and less people say some shit.
Yeah. So I think what that is like, it's a snapshot of the larger kind of mechanism of social media and like really how it works.
Yes.
You know, so because, and we talked about this the other day when we were talking about some of the, when we had the discussion about the different creators and their clothing.
Yep.
The dude with 500,000 followers and the guys.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were paying to boost it. You didn't pay to boost yours. That's so I'm saying is the quality of the content, whatever it may be, whether it be something controversial like that where you invite criticism, whether it be like a really top video, or whether it be, you know, maybe a poll or an interesting, whatever it may be, the game is attention always. You know,
it is a game of attention. I like how you put that.
And how do people, you know, and how do people get it? How do you get people's attentions? A bunch of different ways, right? But what you have to do is you got to, you know, you tap into something. Like you have to tap into the emotion, right? So you like take your post for instance, right? You invited criticism, right? So if you give people open season to hate on you, like what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna hate on you. Bro.
They go jump on that shit.
They're gonna jump on it, and then it's just like high school all over again. You know what I'm saying? And then you know it, but you have to know where you're going. Obviously, you know.
Or no, I would, and not to interrupt. I'll just jump in. But you have to know where you're at, not just where you're going. So the reason I say you have to know where you're at is because like I have to be in a comfortable space enough to do that. To open those doors, because I got to be ready for the nightmare that comes through that shit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be aware and comfortable where you're at, too, because if you're not, if you're ill-prepared in that sense,
I agree with that, but let's say somebody unknowingly invites criticism. If their destination, right, like, just to make it simple, if their destination was grandma's house and perhaps maybe not the White House, then okay, maybe they would falter. Like, I'm just going to grandma's. It's no big deal. But if my purpose is going to the White House, like, okay, I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to the White House.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's a good point, too, because some people aren't, like, in that space yet to be, like, comfortable or confident. And that's where I feel like we've broken out of in a lot of spaces, bro. Like for us personally, me personally for sure. Like being able to be comfortable to put myself out there and invite criticism and invite critique and hate, disrespect, and all this other stuff. It takes a strong like sense of self, a strong personality. And I'm not saying like I'm like mine's undefeated, but it took a step to get there. Whatever that step wasn't one of just pure confidence. It didn't just wake up one day and just, oh fuck, I'm confident. Let me just make, you know what I'm saying, my dreams come true. It took like some step out of fear. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of the things I feel they were talking about as well in the podcast. And most of it can cause you stagnation and cripple you just because of that possibility of that shit happening. But they guarantee that if there's no person that hasn't gone through success that hasn't come across failures and problems. That's the whole point. So it's like a prerequisite. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And you got to realize sometimes in the game of like social media, real estate, or like self-development, marketing, selling washes, you know what I'm saying? There's starting a business, there's problems that came with that. There's problems you have to deal with. And I love your take on kind of addressing those problems. Like you're an action taker. You're a type of person that like figures out and does the backwards engineering that it takes to accomplish that shit. And I just wonder like how did you come to that like quality, which is admirable as fuck, by the way, like to to understand, like, right now you're in a place where you have to eliminate distractions and shit like that. But you're like, bro, you showed me like a full like checklist. You have like these structures in place that you come up with to kind of ensure that you get to that goal. Like, how did you get to the point where it's like, did you read a book or like, what the fuck was it that realized like, hey, these are the qualities of the actions I need to go for in order to accomplish that shit? Because I feel like a lot of us, like especially myself, we wonder like, what the fuck is the next step? Like, how do I get there? You know. And I find myself thinking about that shit a lot, like, oh, did I make the right choice? Like, what, I always question certain things. And that, for sure, is one of them, is, like, what is the next step? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get here, but there's, like, micro steps, these other steps. Like, how the fuck did you get to, like, that point where you kind of, like, are identifying those so easily? Well, not easily. Let me not disrespect it. So well.
Sure. I mean... I think it's just, you have to really, the best way I can put it is I'm just like super curious, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that's the first start. And then the second start to that is, or excuse me, the layer below that is, okay, I want to do this thing, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I read long ago, about like some of the earlier people in Egypt and how they were able to settle along the Nile is because they were able to determine the seasons and when the best time to plant was. And so human beings have a natural ability to recognize patterns. And so that's all I did. It's like, okay, look, I recognize the patterns in my life. And so I'm going to start with these things first. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know I want to accomplish this. So I'm going to start with these things first, okay? And then I'm going to make sure that I just do these things every day because some of them are naturally going to fall off and then because they don't work. And then some of them I'm going to keep doing because they do work. And so I think you have to be willing to experiment. And honestly, like one of the things with me is I don't like looking like a beginner. I hate it. I don't want to pop up on the scene. Like, I don't want to look like a beginner. You know, I don't want to have that anxiety. But that's something you have to get over. And I do, you know. So I think you have to have the ability to observe and then ask really good questions and, you know, just kind of create a process for yourself. Because if I didn't have checklists and if I didn't have as structured as a lifestyle as I do, then my ADD would just take over and I wouldn't get anything done.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, like, you don't want to seem like a beginner, right? Like, a lot of people, myself included, have that issue, bro. Like, sometimes I don't want to, like, say or talk in the room because I feel like I'm not smart enough to keep up a conversation with some folks. And so sometimes I hesitate. And I hate that feeling, like you said. It just makes me, and I'm a social dude. I like talking, communicating with others. So it's like, damn, like.
Well, take your own advice.
Like, am I going to say something that's going to make me look dumb?
Take your own advice.
Which part?
Which, you know, that you're not that important and nobody cares. The only thing that you need to bring to the table is you.
That was a good statement, man. He served me my own words. Yeah, that was quote unquote.
Yeah, you know, and I use that too.
Yeah,
I use that
makes
sometimes.
Sense.
Because I don't like showing up, you know, and I have a little bit of social anxiety, you know, just because of how I grew up. So I don't like showing up places and being noticed. But unfortunately, I'm noticed wherever I go.
And that mustache.
The mustache.
The mustache
is a ringer, for sure. For sure.
And I think, is that part of why you did it? To give you like that? Because they talk about that a little bit, is kind of like being willing to, like, not necessarily embarrass yourself, but being willing to.
Well, it's like what I was doing, like the rejection thing.
Yes. So did you get that from that episode, by the way? No?
Nah.
Bro, that's crazy as fuck. They mentioned it. Just so you guys have some context. There's a thing they mentioned in the podcast about, like, actively seeking rejection, or 100 ways to get rejected.
Yeah, so there was a guy that did 100 days, 100 days of rejection. So each day he would get rejected by something that's like strange, like, hey, going up and asking a friend for $100, or like going to a restaurant where they serve burgers and asking for a burger refill. You know what I'm saying? Just like things that you're probably going to get rejected for, ask anyway to build up your rejection tolerance.
Yes. Yeah. And it's crazy too, because it does work, because once you get comfortable enough with like rejection, or just kind of like it's like that fear is, you realize, like, because we always associate, and they talk about this, we always associate like, something with death. Like, so like, oh, if this happens, like I'm done for. This is it for me.
Well, the reason why, and I thought they were going to elaborate on this, but they didn't. Yeah. So the reason why we feel that way is because during our early development, right? So when there was like multiple species of human beings roaming the earth, when we weren't the biggest, baddest predators around, there was like saber-toothed tigers and different sort of animals that were bigger, faster, stronger than us. So if you were caught outside of the group, it meant death, because you can't survive against the elements by yourself, and you can't fight off large game by yourself, and you can't gather water by yourself. You can't build shelter by yourself. So if you were alone during those times, you were almost certainly dead. And so because people have this wrong understanding of the human body, that, because now we've domesticated life and we've erected these structures and we've got technology, that somehow we're more evolved. No, from a physiological perspective, we're not. We still have the same body. So all the generations pass down that fear of rejection, because to be ostracized from the group meant death. And so now that's manifested as fear, anxiety, to fear rejection from other people, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all that is.
Damn. I never would have even like tied that shit together.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so that leads me to another one of these points too, is like pushing versus pivoting. Right? They touched on that a bit. Like, and I like how they put it. Pretty much, how do you know when you're being a bitch versus when you have to bow out or something, right? Yeah. And the reason
we talked about that too.
Exactly, bro. And the crazy shit is like everything, and I've never seen that interview before.
I've never seen it.
The only clip I've probably seen was the one.
Not in full.
I've only seen like maybe one clip from it.
2 clips max.
And didn't even associate it. But the fact that like it ties into like always like bitch, being a bitch, death, all this other stuff. Like you feel that like you failed to a point where it's like life is over, it's a wrap for you, right? And I feel that all the time when it comes to real estate.
Bro, I was getting ready to say, like, as an entrepreneur,
I feel it all the fucking time.
It's, you experience the full range of emotions. I felt that way today.
Yo, like all the, and I'm like, if I don't do this right, like, what if everything did go away, right? I hate thinking that way, but like, what if it did, right? Like, I got to sometimes soften this shit, right? So what if it went away? Like, do I have a couch to sleep on? Do I have, have a wife? I have some, like, do I have a fallback plan? Not really, but I know if it came down to it, bro, I could probably move in with my grandma or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's so much love. Like, I would have something. I wouldn't have something ideal or everything that I would want, but I would have something.
I think we get caught up in the things that we don't have.
Yes. And that's exactly what because we've come from like poverty trauma shit. Yeah. And so we don't want to go back there. It's such a strong urge.
We've got all this secured, and so now we're looking at the stuff that we don't have out there.
Going backwards almost feels like death, like they were talking about.
Yeah.
And for me, as like when I do fitness and stuff like that, I always say this shit, like, and sometimes during the work, it's like, I ain't no bitch. I'm gonna get this rep. I'm gonna get this set. Da, da, da. And that's psychologically fucking with my own psyche, just trying to push myself further and stuff like that. Am I serious? No. But at the same time, like, it correlates with a lot of shit. Like this, like, in how it's put in that conversation is just how I feel about it, right? Mm-hmm. So you only like wholeheartedly, come to that bitch realization or that failure realization is when you stop. Yes. So you pivoting and you're constantly pivoting. Like, I wanted to look this shit up before we had this conversation, but I forgot specifically, and I don't even know if it was you that sent me. There was different businesses that started off at like completely different industries. Like, for example, like Apple was or not Apple, Fox. I have to find the video again, but they pretty much talked about different businesses like that are in a completely different industry now. From where they started? Completely different. Like, one was like a toothpaste and now sells technology. Oh, yes. Or one was this and now sells like completely different. And they're big companies. I would have to relook up the video, but it pretty much shows like these motherfuckers pivoted so drastically. They're not even in the same fucking field whatsoever. Not even associated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to think that, like, from a whole picture perspective, whole esque perspective, that they necessarily could have looked to be quitters because they're no longer doing that thing. But no, they pivoted so well and so much.
They're not quitting.
They're just in a different pocket.
Well, the whole goal of business is to be in business.
Yes. As simple as you could put it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a Hermozi quote.
Yeah.
I heard him say that.
Yeah.
So like, if the point of business is to stay in business, like that's the name of the game.
Yes.
Then, okay, if you started off selling toothpaste and now you're a tech company, who gives a damn?
Yeah.
You're in business
You're still in business.
We're still in the game.
We're still fighting.
We're in the game
We're
still.
in the fight.
Yeah. So it's like, you know.
And it hit me because, again, like I always associate it with like, you know, if everything goes away, this is gonna be like the worst feeling ever. The worst, and it initially will be, but like if you think about it, like take a breath. Okay, I got another day on the earth, another opportunity to change it back, another opportunity to get it back.
Yep.
Like one thing about a lot of the people and a lot of the hate that be coming towards my way, it's like the toughest thing that these people have to go through, and I mean these people, like the people that are doing it, is having to wake up and realize like most of them, like they're not going to be able to genetically change their face. They're not going to be able to gain height. They're not going to be genetically able to just overnight get in shape. Like there's a lot of surgery shit going on and stuff like that. Yeah, mind you, but most of these motherfuckers don't got that money to do it. And so to me, it's like, oh shit, my outfit was trash. Oh, if that one was trash, I'll just go buy another one. I don't have to buy a whole new face though. I don't have to buy a whole new body. I'll just go back to, you know what I mean? Right. So it's like, fuck it.
Right.
Like if the Ralph Lauren vest wasn't working, let me go get an Express Jet vest or something. You know, let me go get a Zara vest. You know what I mean? Like I could just switch the outfit.
Yeah.
So I can live and sleep comfortably knowing like, damn, if that's the worst aspect about me.
Is my clothes that I could easily change?
Not even clothes, that outfit, which I have plenty of more I can just go put on.
The clothes, outfit, same thing. But yeah, it's like, all right, I can.
Shit, I'm doing pretty well if that's like the worst of my concerns.
Exactly.
You did?
Exactly. And that's a great perspective.
So it talks about how like that perspective adjustment.
Well, let me ask you this, because, you know, how can, let's take one of these, let's take like a global superstar, for example. Okay. Let's talk about Kevin Durant for a second. And I don't normally like to talk about celebrities, but this is on par with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So you look at a guy like Kevin Durant, and it is well known that dude just cannot really handle criticism well. Mm-hmm. He's got like burner accounts and stuff like that. So, you know, to like go and like, you know, troll people, comment on his own page from another account, like this is all well documented. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, you're a global superstar. Who gives a damn? Why are you wasting your time doing this?
Yeah.
So let's say you and KD were in the same room. Given what just happened to you on your post, what sort of advice are you going to give this guy?
Shit, bro. Like
bro,
this is the advice I'm going to give, bro. I'm like, hey, man, look. What I'm going to need you to do is, right, like, leave this room. Leave my, where is this located at, by the way? It's my house?
It's your house.
Okay, fuck it. Leave my 3-2-bedroom house, 1,500 square feet. Bro, just go hop in your Maybach. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you drive.
Yeah, with the 91 in it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Go ahead, head back. You know what I'm saying?
High octane.
Yeah, high octane you did. Go ahead and head back to that nice, like, gated community, bro, and just go chill in your 1,500 square foot living room. Mm-hmm. And really think about what the fuck they got to do with that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because if you think, like, nigga, I'm going to get in my Toyota Corolla, you know what I'm saying, and go head up to Absolute Fitness and go work out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go do that again and again. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to go try to, you know, find deals and hunt and, you know what I'm saying, find business partners and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then figure how I can get as much more fucking money as you got. Mm-hmm. But I'm not concerned with anybody else's, like, opinions about none of that shit. Mm-hmm. Where I'm at, where I'm going, none of it. Mm-hmm. So, like, nigga, you're literally at the finish line, worrying about motherfuckers running their first, second lap. Like, for what? Exactly. Mm. And this always gets me, like, I'm not hella well off, bro. But it's something in me that tells me, like, a motherfucker that's more well off than me don't make them no better than me. Because money don't really make you better than me. But it sure could make you feel better than me. So
Yeah.
go take your rich ass back to your rich ass house and realize that most motherfuckers don't have half the shit, 25% of the shit that you have. And none of the shit they say matters. Because we're really, when you think about it, like, what value are you putting on? You're giving these niggas, like, if I had to correlate your income with hourly wage or time spent,
Don't even do
nigga, you're sacrificing hundreds of thousands of dollars to communicate with niggas that don't make that in a year.
And this brings me up to my next question, or to kind of like my next sort of phrase, is because I think the difference is between you and, say, somebody like that. It doesn't have to be that specific individual, but I think the difference is that in order to get what you have, and you have more than most. I know, like, you kind of reducing, you know, you're six, you know, I mean, you've got what, 7, how many properties?
4 properties, 6 doors.
4 properties, 6 doors. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and these aren't small property. I mean, this took a lot of planning, a lot of investment, a lot of hard work. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, like, you know, you're an accomplished individual. We used to work for Facebook. Like, you are an accomplished individual. I think the biggest difference is, and I think this could be another topic for, you know, for another podcast, but the infantilization of the professional athlete. Because if you see their journey from like grade school, middle school, high school, college, pros, they've always been under a certain structure where the only thing that they've had to do was just perform on the field. Not saying that that isn't difficult. It 100% is. Okay? That takes, a lot of it is God-given, but a lot of it is hard work too.
Yeah, a lot of practice and shit.
You know, they're still kind of under this paternal structure. You know what I'm saying? Where they've got to listen to a coach. They've got to listen to an owner. They have to, you know what I'm saying? They have to, they're serving more than one God. The fans, you know what I'm saying? Like everything, their sponsorships, endorsements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where their life isn't necessarily their own. Where somebody like you went out, you took charge of everything. You know, I have to produce this, so I have to manifest this. They're still like really involved in the physical aspect of their nature.
It's
where you were somebody like you had an idea, brought it out, and then manifested in physical reality is very different. So like, yeah, he's got more money than you, but in terms of confidence, I mean, there could easily, I mean, just like internally, chemically different.
And the way that you put that too, because a lot of like celebrities and stuff, they have PR. They literally can't say certain things because they are at a certain, you know, iconic stature, which makes sense because it's for the brand. You know what I'm saying? But when you're told to do certain things and you have a certain structure that's not of your own creation, over a certain period of time, it does kind of stick.
Oh yeah,
it's like so well to the point where it's like you want to kind of rebel against some of those aspects. And sometimes those actions don't align with the actual level of or quality of a person that they are, if that makes sense.
Oh, well, it takes a truly great mind. I think a lot of the, you know, like you look at some of the athletes through history, professionally, who have gone on to do great things. You know, the one that comes to mind is, and I forget his name, but he played for the Minnesota Vikings. He was a defensive lineman. And while he was playing for the Vikings, he was going to law school.
Oh, shit.
Became a lawyer, became a judge. And now he's a judge on the Supreme Court of the United States. Black dude. I forgot his name.
Sheesh.
Yes, bro. Yes.
He made that shit happen.
No. He rose to a level of power.
Sheesh. And it's not a little.
It's like you can't like really.
Supreme Court.
He's on the Supreme Court of the United States, arguably one of the most powerful men on earth.
That's a good point.
So it's like, I think it's more of a testament to the mind. If you had the sort of mind that would require an individual to be comfortable in that sort of situation,
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
If you put the same person in the same pond, are they gonna make a different way of life out of it? Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's good and it's funny because it's always funny, right? It brings up somewhat of another topic that they touched on that really hit me, was like shifting mindset from this. Instead of it being hard, that most people can't do this shit. So like we typically, come from the realm of like, I've done this so many times, like where like, oh shit, I don't want to read this shit. It's hard because it takes time. It's boring. I have to put energy into certain things. Like I don't want to, you know, like today I went to the gym. Sometimes I don't want to go because I know it's going to be hard. So, and I don't, okay, perfect example. I don't do cardio like that. It's hard for me in my mind. My mentality is it's hard. But if I reframe my structure and understanding of it, like, and just understand that, like, go from this is hard to like, damn, most people can't do this shit. More proud about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could do this shit. Like, most people can't even do this shit. That's crazy. Like, damn, that must be hard for them. Or it's hard for them. Because they can't do it. But I can. So is it really hard for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? So like, I loved how they phrased the shit because when you shift your train of looking at something, you know what I mean? Like reframe, shift it. Like he Hermozi in that conversation talked about. He said his like wife got bumped on the streets and shit, bro. These are like well business people. Like it's crazy that people hate on these motherfuckers. Like it's crazy as fuck. But she got bumped in the street or whatever, right? And the dude said, call her some skinny bitch or something. Like just called her out, and she's telling him this story. He's just confused. Like what the fuck? Like so, like let me know what happened, like so he can address it. Her whole take from him was like, he called me skinny. And as a woman, that just like that was funny because like she was able to like disregard the disrespect and just be like, damn, I'm skinny. That's just what's up.
Disregard the outright malice and take the compliment. Take it as he called me skinny.
And not just that. It's just it's part of like the things I have jotted down here. Is just being able to lean into that shit to be like fuck. I make my reality my own. You know what I'm saying? It's like fuck. It's just like a slight shift in reframing something of that nature. Like, damn, this is difficult as opposed to like, damn, most people can't do this shit. I'm more proud when I say, damn, like I did that. Like most people can't even do that shit. It probably was difficult, hard, or arduous when you went through it.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know about you, like, you know, I was gonna say I think some people, but I'll just make it about myself because I'm scared of what I'm gonna become. Ooh. Like I'm scared of like, I'll give you a prime example. Yesterday morning, you know, I was kicking it at Laura's house, and I was like, man, I gotta get some work done, you know. And so I was like, I'm gonna stay up, burn the midnight oil, you know. So I was up till like 3:00, right, just working, and my alarm goes off 4 a.m. every morning. 4 o'clock, I don't even brush my teeth. The first thing I do is I pray and I read my Bible and then I meditate. 2 hours dedicated. Okay. And I was like, man, I can wake up at 4 o'clock, right? Be off 1 hour of sleep. Like I can do that, but I'm going to set a new precedence for myself. I'm going to set a new precedence of, okay, hey, listen, you got up off 1 hour of sleep before, so do it again. And do it again. And do it again.
I see where you're going with this.
And because I'm so competitive, like, okay, I'm scared of that individual.
I get you.
And so my goal, and it's always has been my goal, is to become the individual that isn't scared of being who he's supposed to be. And then being that individual.
So let me and just correct me if I'm off with this. So essentially, you're saying you will set a precedent within your life
that I can't go
understand
back from.
That you can't undo.
Yep.
That becomes your new reality, and the scary part about it is if that becomes your new reality, what will your quality of life be? And the fact that you've done it once, twice, it's repeatable. But I'm going to tell you, it might not be sustainable, right? So you have to also think about sustainability.
Of course, like obviously, I won't be able to do 1 hour sleep. But you know,
but the person, I know your personality. The person that's in you is going to be like, you're gonna be on the fringe of that shit often, too often, and then you're going to get to a place where you're not going to recognize, like, I would say, what the original goal was. because Hermozi brings this up in that conversation where he's like, he wanted to track his sleep. So he got the ring, and it kind of deals with sleep too. He got the ring and shit. Then like him putting that frame or that new system in his life ended up fucking up his sleep.
Right. And so when he got rid of
so
the
it was
ring,
counteractive to what it was, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very, very touchy or very like sensitive to do certain things like that because it does expand your ability and it gives you new boundaries. And it's up. This is the difficult part. Like it's up to you to kind of like play with those boundaries, understand those boundaries. But it can get toxic in a way too, because then that boundary can then become a what do you call it? I want to say like not a deficit, but it would become something of a nature of like counterintuitive than what the purpose of it was for. The whole purpose of the ring was to get better sleep, and then him implementing the ring caused him to overthink about it and get worse sleep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
You get what I mean?
Yep.
And so I see what you're saying about that whole scare thing. It's just, and I think you're on track. You know what I'm saying, for the shit that you do, and like,
yeah. But here's the thing though. I think in order to do some of the things that I want to do, you have to become obsessed. There has to be some unbalance, like.
I hear you.
There has to be.
And you brought that shit up. You only get one stroke of madness. You only get one go at this. Here's what I'll say. What happens when you find out?
Find out what?
Like, one way or the other.
I have to know.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I get you have to know. But let me try to rephrase. I'm asking you, like, when you get there, and you're at that crossroad. This was a good decision. This wasn't a good decision. What doesn't happen when you get to that point?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't die.
Oh.
It doesn't stop.
Right.
The world doesn't stop. The world doesn't end. Your reality doesn't like.
I see
go
exactly
away.
what you're saying.
So, being that happens, then it just seems like you just have to explore it. Is what it sounds like. So, I mean, exploring the shit that you want to explore is worth exploring because you want to do it. And then, if it was the wrong path, the shit you got to experience all that shit during the time that you explored it. There's something from there. You know what I'm saying? That path you took that you could take back with you. Whether it was good or bad, now you know, like, okay, well, shit, stay out of that motherfucking area of the forest. Let me go to this section of the forest. You know what I'm saying? And so, it can be scary because the fact is, our fears is like going down that path was a waste of time, or going down that path didn't amount to the success of the result that I wanted. That's my fear, at least, right? And now I got to go back up. Was it you that told me the story? Like, now I got to go back up the hill to go look at the hill that I have to now go over. Like, there was I think
no, that wasn't me.
It wasn't you? No. It might have been in a book. Oh, you know what? It was in the book. It was in a book.
That's a good story.
It was in a book. It was pretty much about a person that, like, he climbed up this massive hill or this massive mountain and then looked out, found out it was the wrong fucking mountain. So he had to, but he could see the new mountain. He could see the actual mountain.
And it was bigger than the one that he climbed.
I've heard that story so before. The worst part about it is he has to climb back down that mountain and then re-up the other mountain that's much bigger. But it's just, he would have never fucking found out if he would have never climbed up the mountain, though. Is the point of the story, really. Right. But I just thought that shit is similar to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, your fear is coming from the fact of, like, it's uncharted. It's really what it comes down to. Yeah. It's uncharted. But that's part of the reframing. You know what I'm saying? It is uncharted. How many people have charted this? Not a lot. But what I feel, if you can frame what or structure what you pose to get out of it, that at least give you hope in the situation or give you like a purpose to like pursue it. Yeah. But it's one of them situations where it's kind of like, okay, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. What benefit do you think it would have to do it?
I think it would have multiple benefits. I think it would really like test my devotion of the thing that I'm doing. And I think it would, I mean, really, and it's not like I haven't been off of 1 hour of sleep before, you know, but at this point in my life now where, and you said it the other day, it wasn't the other day, but it was a few weeks ago, you're like, man, I just feel like success is around the corner.
You know? I feel it.
You know,
nipping at my fucking heels.
It's bro. It's like right there, you know? And so that's kind of how I felt about it, you know? And I think part of me is afraid of success because I don't know why.
Let me put this out there and you let me know. So, and then we probably got to wrap up soon. Though. I'm telling you, this is going to be a 2 hour way if we let it be. And we ain't even through like most of the shit they was talking about on the episode. FYI,
definitely have to run it back.
Let me put this out there for you, right? So, being that you want to play on, you know what I'm saying, the edge of the universe, the fringe of this, right? Test your level of obsession, and it's to see where it takes you. When you look back at it, how good would you feel whether you did the thing or not did the thing? And what impact would it have made? So, like you say you want to test it, right? You say you want to find out. Is it just because, like, okay, whether it was yes or no, or it was a good thing or not a good thing, would you be okay with either of those two answers? And is it worth the sacrifice?
100%.
100%?
Yep.
And then another thing, like, so is this kind of like a one-off thing, or is this like a multiple thing? Like, are you trying to be obsessed, like, to the point where it's like this is the only thing you focus on, the only thing you deal with, and then how long you can deal with it?
I'm trying to be obsessed to the point where because here's the thing, I could have easily done it.
Yes.
That's the thing. I just capitulated.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
I succumbed. I succumbed to the weaker side of myself. Nah, just go ahead and get. You're not gonna be able to stay awake anyway. You're gonna fall asleep while you're praying, and it's not even gonna be productive.
Fuck, bro, I battle with that person on a daily basis.
You're not even gonna be productive when you do it. You might as well get some extra sleep. Like, bro, I'm never gonna remember the times I was asleep unless I have a crazy dream. But I mean,
and even then,
but I'm only gonna remember the times that, like, man, I remember that time I was off 1 hour of sleep and I busted it out, you know? So I'm just trying to have more of those moments. I'm trying to have more of the moments where I just do like
interesting moments.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have more moments where I do stuff outside of the realm, outside of what I think is possible. Just like crazy stuff, you know? That's like what he said in the podcast. He's like, I'm just really just trying to do epic shit. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, he really is doing epic shit. And then I thought to myself, like, man, I just want to do epic shit too. Like, what have I done? And I was like, man, I haven't really done that much, you know?
And
there's one or two moments in there, but.
So and I know, tell me if I'm wrong. This is what you're seeking. When you get the thing at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the journey, right? Wherever it may be, the feeling that you get from whatever that effort was is indescribable.
Yeah.
Expressing that feeling to others is indescribable. Like, hey, I put in like 300 hours last and I have the thing, like, I have it right here.
Mm-hmm. Here's my results.
Here's the thing that you know what I'm saying? Now what's next? It puts you in a realm of not invincibility, but feeling that you can conquer anything that comes your way.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you mentioned that you said you were dealing with, like, you wrestle with that same person.
Yes.
Let's make a commitment right now while we're live.
Oh shit!
Hey, you know me.
Okay, what kind of commitment you trying to do? And we can end on that.
And we'll wrap it up on this, man. Let's just make a commitment to, like, hold each other unflinchingly accountable. One, and then two, like, I mean, we already do to a certain point, but like, we need to get like really down and dirty with it. like gritty and just like, okay, bro, you know, like I think we need to do that because we do, but we could take it to another level.
I feel like that's what you're getting at. Like,
we could take it to another level because I mean, you got the energy, I got the energy, the talent wise, like I mean, we've got it, you know. So let's just make a commitment to do dope shit all the time, and to push ourselves, right,
and each other
to like that moment. And then at the end of the day, let's talk about it. Like, hey, bro, hey, this is what I did today.
So this commitment comes with responsibility for sure, but I'm definitely down for this.
Let's have the conversation off. We'll tell you guys about it on the next podcast.
We will, but I guess the responsibility side would be, and this would be, we can end it right here, is more so in the fact that we will have to stay in high communication. You're going to have to fucking turn your ringer on. That's for sure.
I know.
That's fucking for sure.
I know.
Niggas got to call you twice to get you.
I know. I have it on silent, which I really need to turn it off for reasons unbeknownst to everyone else. But yes,
I get it.
I get it.
On. And there's moments you need to be in the thing. And if those situations you're in the mud, you just say, I'm in the mud right now. It's that simple. And then I can hit you at a different time. But you're going to have to fucking turn the ringer on.
I know, bro. I'm going to turn it on. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to turn it on. I'm a silent guy. I'm a silent ringer text guy.
I am too,
so
bro, because it's a natural state. It's just, then you're never going to actually be able to plug in or somebody, because so in this situation, we're going to have to force plug each other in this. You know that, right?
I know.
It's going to have to be
you know what I'll
do?
Because we're not turn your ringer on.
Yeah. If you could do that?
Yep, individually. Yeah.
Oh, shit. When?
Yeah. When?
Yeah, I've never knew. Like, you could.
Yeah, I did it the other day for somebody.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm turning on some ringers.
Turn some ringers off, turn some on. Exactly.
I did not fucking know that.
Yeah, I'll show you.
But anyways, man, we appreciate y'all tapping in.
For real.
You know what I mean? This is a great conversation like it was. I feel like this one episode was like really conversation.
Yeah.
It really felt truly conversation. I think that's like our bread.
Well, I mentioned it the other day, like, you know, we're getting, I was going to put it in the show description for the last episode. Like, hey, tune in because we're getting better at this.
Fucking right, man. Hey, damn right.
Hey, upside's crazy.
Fire.
Tap in.
Hey, but we appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and you know.
Hey, follow us on IG.
Yeah, fuck with us on IG at Erron Vonner.
At Dorian D. Scotto.
You know, and we had a good conversation. If you guys, you know what I'm saying, didn't get anything out of this, don't trip. Because we did. You dig?
Peace.
All right.